Hello guys, welcome to my channel, Salon BU. I am Margot. Thanks for watching and tuning in. Make sure you subscribe and hit that button below. Right now I am doing a relaxer. I've already parted my sections into 4 and I've already based the scalp of my client. So I'm applying this relaxer maybe like in half an inch away from her scalp. And the reason for the base is to protect the scalp. That's double protection actually for the scalp, not to, get irritated or start burning for any reason. And for me, applying this relaxer a half an inch away from the scalp is also protection of the client not getting irritated from this relaxer or suffering any type of burns. So I'm going to work myself around her head in my 4 sections. I love to start in the crown of the head because that's where the hair is the most thickest and it takes longer to break down to me. As far as the relaxer is concerned, I try to stay away from the edges because the edges in the nape and the sides are always easier to break down faster because what processes the relaxer is heat, and heat is closest to the scalp. The type of relaxer that I am using is a relaxer by Affirm. I'm actually using a wide application brush to cover more area of the relaxer being applied to her hair. So we're going to go ahead and finish applying this relaxer. Then I'm going to shampoo her out with an Affirm normalizing shampoo. Normalizing is the same thing as neutralizing. It's bringing the hair back down to its a regular pH, like not so high. Relaxers and colors will blow the hair way out of the pH scale. But when you use a normalizing or neutralizing shampoo coupled with water, it tends to bring the pH of the hair back down to a good pH for the hair. And then I'm going to go in here, smooth this out right now. That's what you see me doing. Then I'm also going to come back with that normalizing and neutralizing shampoo and really condition my client hair with a conditioner that's high in hydration and moisture. Let it sit for about 5 minutes. Now that I have done that, I'm going to go ahead and detangle her hair, comb through it really well. Now that I have detangled her hair, I'm going to spray a leave-in conditioner in her hair. I'm going to comb that through as well to get it all over every strand of her hair. Now with the leave-in conditioner, you can use a leave-in conditioner of your preference. It's no special leave-in conditioner, no particular conditioner. Some conditioners have more ingredients than others that condition the hair a little bit better and coats the hair a little bit better than others, but nevertheless you can use a leave-in conditioner of your choice. There's no right or wrong leave-in conditioner. All of them does the same thing. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to make vertical partings, and then we're going to trim her hair maybe a half an inch off, not too much, because this particular client typically keeps her hair cut anyway, so her hair is always in the form of a short pixie cut. So most of the times when she comes to get her hair done, she just really needs a trim because she stays on top of getting her hair cut or, keeping it tapered or clean. So I'm starting with the crown, and then I'm gonna work myself all the way around the right ridge of the head. Some people, there is no right or wrong way to start a cut A lot of people like to start the way I just started, with vertical partings and starting in the crown and work their way down. And some people prefer to start at the nape and work their way up to the crown and around the parietal ridge of the head. So what I do is I'll go vertically first and trim my hair, or either cut the hair. And once I have done that, you will see me going horizontally to cross-check that cut and to make sure that cut is cut with precision and preciseness. You don't ever want to cut past your knuckle, because you don't want to run the risk of getting cut or cutting your knuckle. Trust me, I know from experience. You do not want to cut your knuckle. But nevertheless, point cutting, you will see me do that as well. The purpose of point cutting, explained, is to add texture and to eliminate weight, and it's also used to blend. If you do not want to pull out your thinning shears and go in certain areas that may need to be blended, you can just keep your regular shears that you're already cutting with, and you can point cut that hair. It adds texture, eliminates weight, and blends the hair in certain areas. So now you see me going in a different direction again. I'm going in a vertical direction again. And that's to cross-check my cut even the more, because I am very serious when it comes to my shortcuts. And I have to have that blend, and they have to be cut precisely right. If a cut is not cut right, you will see it in the details. You will see it in the details. So now that we're done trimming her hair, and even if you're cutting, you will still go, this is the direction that I still go. As I said, there's no right or wrong way to start. You can start the way you prefer to start, but this is just the way I prefer to start. So now that I have cut or trimmed her hair, starting from the crown in the parietal ridge, now I'm going down to the nape area, and I'm working my way back up to the parietal ridge area, and I am taking off the excess hair from the nape on up. Now, my clients love to get close cuts, meaning around the sides and the back. They love for their hair to be cut a little bit close because of the type of work that they do and maybe the type of activities that they do. A lot of my clients, they love to go to the gym and work out. So if they have a cut to where you have excess hair that's kind of lengthy, going around the sides of the neck and down to the back, it's pretty, but it just does not work for them. I do have clients that I have done those styles on, and they have come back and asked me to cut that down to where it works for them. They want that clean edge and that clean tape up line and that clean cut, because it was just too much for them to tend to when they were at home or work or working out or whatever the case may be. So now this wrap lotion that I'm using is a wrap lotion by Cream of Nature. I actually did a show for them when they launched this product to launch this product. So when I used the product to help launch the new line that they were coming out with, I actually fell in love with this wrap lotion, and I started using it a whole lot. Now I do use different wrap lotions or foam lotions or whatever your term that you use for it, but this particular one is one of the ones that I like the most. You can use any wrap lotion of your preference. It's all up to you. There's no, right or wrong wrap lotion, but some wrap lotions are more high in moisture and hydration than others in conditionings. So now I'm molding her hair down into the direction that I want it to go. And trust me, your mold is very important. Please understand that when you are doing a shortcut, your mold is very, very important. So take your time and you do it the way that you want it to be done, because this is going to determine your finish on how your style out is concerned. Once you're done with the molding, then you can come and you can apply your wrap strips to the head. And the purpose of the wrap strips is to keep the hair laying down in the way you just molded it, so that it won't get disturbed in any way, shape, form, or fashion. A lot of times if you don't use the wrap strips, by the time they come from under the dryer, the back of the hair would have been unbuckled or got wavy. And that's something that you don't want when you're trying to achieve a straight look or smooth, silky look. So now what I'm about to do is take my blow dryer and my paddle brush and run through her hair really quick with some heat. This client's particular hair is very coarse and thick, so I'm going to run a little bit more heat through her hair to kind of straighten it out just a tad bit more to my liking, so the style can turn out exactly the way I envision it to be. So here again, I'm gonna go back into this trim. The trim that I did before earlier was a pre-cut or pre-trim to just get me started. And this is actually the finished touches to the trim that I want to see done to her hair. This is what you call precision cutting and tailor making this particular cut to this particular client. So there will be some point cutting here. And as I said, I like to work in a uniform way. So I'm going from the nape on up, from the right to the left, or either you can go from the left to the right. It's clearly your choice. Here you see me point cutting some. Sorry guys, I had to scrape the camera up a little bit more so you all can see. If you notice, I'm pretty much staying around the edge or the rim of the nape and around the rim of the sides, around the ear area and things like that. Is because that's the area where I'm really focusing on. Now, if you see me go up into the hair, it's only because I'm blending at this point, not cutting, but blending or not trimming. I'm point cutting a little bit more here, if you noticed. So now I'm going to take my edgers or my trimmers, and I'm going to go around the tape up line and around the ear and on the sides over the ear and clean this cut up a little bit more to give her that clean look that they typically like to see on their shortcuts, the clients. And I'm taking my comb here, as you see at this point, and I'm using it as a guide, kind of like a number one guard. But this comb actually gets a little bit closer than a number one guard for me. I like to come back with my trimmers and do trimmers over comb like I did shears over comb earlier, but now I'm actually doing trimmers over comb. I am one of the stylists that you will probably see barely use clippers, but by the time you get through seeing my finishing look, it looks like that I use clippers the whole time, but I did not. I normally use shears over comb or trimmers over comb and use my comb as a guard. I started out cutting shears over comb, trimmers over comb before clippers. I do have clippers. I will use them if I see deemed it to be necessary, but I'm so used and so trained to using my shears and my trimmers like clippers until you'll probably see me barely pull them out. So I'm just cleaning her up a little bit more here and adding detail into the cut here and blending the cut a whole lot more in depth at this point. Sometimes if the client asks, I will add in a design to add more spunk or detail to the cut. But that's upon request if they ask for it. Sometimes I'll just, if they know me, I'll just take the initiative and maybe put one simple design or something in it. But that's to each his own client. I know my clients individually, and I know what they probably would like and what they probably would not prefer. And some of them have jobs to where they can't get that out of the box, so they like to leave it more classy and a little bit more plain. But some of them like to get out of the box, and in some other videos you'll see me get out the box right with them, because I love to do detailed work. I love to do cuts and design work, color, and everything else. So in some videos to come, you will see me be able to get a little bit more loose with a lot of my work. Okay, so now that we have all of that done, squared away and out of the way, now I am finna use my Kera Care curling wax, and I'm gonna apply a small amount anytime that I'm using oils or waxes of any kind. Moisturizers, I use a very small amount and I work it throughout the hair shaft at that point. Now, if I need more, I will get more when I need it, but I don't do it right offhand because I don't want the hair to be too heavy. Here you see me with a little bit of Moroccan oil or argan oil is fine. From Rusk, I also use a very small amount, and I go through the hair with that. I'm kind of like coating her hair with both products, cocktailing them together. She tends to be, sometimes, her blonde is, she's a blonde head in the top. So I want to make sure that I'm coating that blonde hair with the oils and the wax to add another layer of protection. You actually see me point to the oven. That's letting you know that I'm getting ready to put the Marcel irons inside of the oven, and that's what I'm using. I could use flat irons for the style, but I feel as though the Marcel irons brings the hairstyle to a whole nother level. Like, it really does. Now, the hairsprays that I just showed you, one is the one I'm using now. It is a memory spray. This particular spritz is only sprayed and used to set the hair for memory. So when I get ready to curl the hair with the irons that you see right here, that hairspray will help the hair remember how to stay formed. The other spray that you saw me with is actually going to be what you call the finishing spray. That spray, once I'm done with the whole style in its entirety, is going to set the hair that has been formed. It's going to set the hair so that the hair can last the client throughout the duration of the time. A shortcut typically lasts for a week or 7 days. Sometimes, if the client is good with keeping up a style, that shortcut will last that client for 2 weeks or 14 days. So that finishing spray will help the hair stay for that client to be able to wear the duration of the time until they come back to get it redone. So what you see me here doing, I have my C irons, my Marcel C irons. That's what those irons are called. They're called C irons. And I'm taking the hair and I'm flipping it back into a C formation, just like a C, the letter C. I'm flipping it back into a C formation. When you are using Marcel irons, you really want to make sure that you are skilled in knowing how to use them. There is all in the risk on how you use them. You always want to make sure that your irons is tempered right. Your irons cannot be too cool, not hot enough, because they won't help your curls stay in memory form. It's got to be hotter for, the hair to actually do what it's supposed to do. Your irons cannot be too hot, because if your irons are too hot, you can run the risk of burning that client's hair to literally a crisp, like for real. And you can burn that client's hair off. It will burn it off, 100% off. So you need to make sure that you're skilled enough to know when I need to take this iron out and when I need to put it back in. The particular oven that I have is not your small ovens. They have an oven that's smaller than that. This oven is called a big mouth oven. It's by Hot Tools. And this oven is called a big mouth because this oven can fit more curlers to get preheated or warmed in it at a time than your typical regular thermal oven or hot oven. So a lot of the times when I know I'm finna switch from one iron to the next, I'll go ahead and preheat that iron so that iron can be ready. But I do not take that iron once it's preheated, if it's been sitting in there for a period of time directly to the client's hair. That is a big no-no, because you have to make sure those irons are tempered correctly. Marcel irons can do to the hair what your typical regular flat irons cannot do. I have flat irons of many kind and many sizes, and I have yet seen flat irons do to a shortcut what Marcel irons do. They cannot. They can give you a nice cute style, or a nice curly style, or a nice soft set, but they cannot do what a Marcel iron can do. A Marcel iron leaves the hair a bit more polished looking than your typical flat iron. Even if you're doing a soft set with a Marcel iron, you can see it's more silky and it's more polished with the Marcel. As you see the steam coming from the iron, that lets you know that that iron is pretty hot, but it's not so hot to the point that it's burning her hair, and especially in the top of her hair, because she's color treated in the top. So you definitely have to be careful when they have color on their hair when you're using Marcel irons. Anytime that you are a professional cosmetologist, meaning that you are a master stylist, you are a master of beauty regardless. A cosmetologist is a person that can do it all. They can do nails, extension of nails, manicures, pedicures. They can do facials. They can do esthetician work. They can do makeup artistry, cut, barbering, whatever it is, we can do it. That's what you call a master of beauty, master of style. But anytime that you are, a cosmetologist, you need to make sure that you know how to use everything, do everything, and be diverse. Even if you specialize in one area, like I specialize in shortcuts, you still want to make sure you know how to do sew-ins. You want to make sure you know how to do color placement, corrective color, extensions like quick weaves, hair care, anything. You want to be very diverse. All races, Chinese, whites, blacks, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans. You want to make sure you are very diverse and that you can do it all. You don't want to be limited to do anything when you are a master stylist. And that being said, when you are a cosmetologist or a master stylist, you have to have product to cater to every hair texture, and you have to have every tool that you know how to use to make your finished work look exactly like it should look. You cannot finish certain styles with one or two tools. You can't. It's just not going to work. You have to have different, tools for different looks. You have to have different size flat irons. You have to have different size Marcel irons. You have to have, protectants for the hair when you're using extensions and things like that. You have to protect people's real hair when you're, putting the extensions and everything in their hair. You have to show them or teach them how to remove hair extensions. That way they won't be damaging their hair when they're taking it out. There's nothing wrong with relaxers. Relaxers are awesome as long as you're taking care of the chemically treated hair as well as color. There's nothing wrong with being natural. It's all about the preference of the client and what they want. So you got to make sure that you have plenty of tools, plenty of irons, plenty of shears, plenty, of blow dryers, steamers, product, whatever it is. And I typically like to use top of the line products. Top of the line products beat out cheap products any given day. You might go to the you might go to the store. You might deal with a distributor, or you might get from the direct distributor that you know, the person that you order your products from, and you may spend $1,000, but that $1,000 will be well worth it in the end, because your end result of your client is going to be beautiful, and that client is going to be very satisfied with your end results, and so are you. So here you see me now curling her hair with the same C iron, and then I'm going into the same motion on the right side that I did on the left side. I'm still curling her hair in an upward form, and I'm going in a very uniform way because this particular client loves her hair in this particular style. This style is called flips, flames, whatever they want to call it. That's what they call it. They call it flips and flames, and bends, ribbons. I done heard them call it all kind of different names, but you're going up in a upward style in the same direction on both sides because it's a very uniform style. This client gets a lot of compliments everywhere she goes about this particular style, and she absolutely loves it. Now, flips or flames or bends, ribbons, riblets, or whatever you want to call it, they can be as uniformed as you want them to be, or they can be as wild, like a wild child, as you want them to be. It's totally up to you. The hair can be short, medium, or long, long. It can be super short, and you can get this particular style, and it'll be cute. It'll look a whole lot more pixie when you do that. If it's this style, which is a medium kind of length, not too short, not too long, it works. And if you want it a little bit longer, it'll look way more wilder. But keep in mind that the longer the hair is, the more it stands the risk of flopping. You don't want it to flop and turn into a bend or a curl when you're trying to be a little bit more exotic. You want it to kind of stay a little while. So I wouldn't go too long with a style like this. So I'm going to continue to work my way around her head until I get all of the flames done up. Now, as you work your way around the head, you will notice that the shorter parts, which I got the curlers here for that, are going to need a different tool, like we was talking about before. It's going to need a different size tool. So depending on the length of the hair, that's the size tool that you're going to need to either go up to, or that's the size tool that you're going to have to go down to and gravitate to a smaller iron. In this case, I'm done with the C iron. So now I'm using more of a smaller iron that's going to catch that shorter pieces or shorter part of the hair. You cannot grip this length of hair with C irons unless they are super duper small C irons, which they have those as well, but not as small as the ones that I'm using right now. So I'm using a very small iron to catch the rest of her hair. Sometimes I'll still take this small iron and go in an upward motion to create a different look than what I'm doing here, but sometimes I'll just go into the direction that I'm going to create what she typically likes to wear, which is the roll curls. These curls that I'm doing right now, they are considered as roll curls. We call them roll curls. And the reason why they are called roll curls is because they are actually going in a row, like together. They are very uniform. They are not ununiformed, to a place to where you can just have a messy look. Like a bad head. This is the opposite of a bad head. This is more, all in one place. That's what she likes. My goal is to please the client. If I please the client, then I'm pleased myself. What they say, happy life, happy wife, happy client, they come back. So I'm going all the way down. One thing about these irons that I like too, that the flat irons cannot do, that I have not seen them do, you can cut the hair as low as you want it, and these irons are going to catch that hair every single time. And that's another reason why a lot of stylists does not cut hair too low. Is to be perfectly honest with you, some of them have not mastered the use of Marcel ironing, and some of them allow fear to hold them back because they're too scared that they're going to burn someone. So they cut the hair to a point to where they can grip the hair with the flat iron, or the smallest flat iron that they have. One thing that a flat iron cannot do that a Marcel iron can do is grip the very teeny miny piece of hair all the way down by the nape area, literally. And like I said, you have to have different sizes or different things for different clients. So I have Marcel irons even smaller than those. I will show you guys in another video when I do a shorter style. But those actually are called pencils because they are smaller than a pencil. They need to call them needles because they look like they're smaller than a needle. But I have some that's way, way, way smaller than this. Now you can see a little bit more detail as I turn her in this direction. You can see that I'm pulling forward to go into the flames as well. I'm not curling her directly down. I'm curling her down, but I'm pulling the curls forward a little bit so that it can all be uniformed and kind of blend and go together. We about done here, just kind of making some adjustments and some tweaking some things. Gonna curl a little bit more. I go down as low as I can. I like to get every piece of hair. Sometimes I'll come back in and I might want a curl to go up instead of down, and I'll go ahead and adjust that really quick before I actually put my finishing spray on it or my setting spray. Because once you put that setting spray or that finishing spray on it, it's set. There's no coming back from that. So what you see me doing here is I'm taking my comb and I'm spraying the hair, and so that helps me have a smoother blend when I'm combing the hair down and shaping it the way that I want it to go. And then I'm going to take my rake comb and then I'm going to kind of like go through the hair just a tad, not disturbing the curls too much, but just a tad. making sure that the roll curls are blending in with the flames or the flips. So I'm going to take a little bit of my oil again, and I'm going to run through these flips and flames with some spritz, some foam, memory spritz, sorry, memory spritz, and kind of like, go ahead and set the hair the way I want it to look before I actually spray the final spritz. Now I'm spraying the final spritz because I got the hair down to where I like it as far as the shape is concerned and the look of it is concerned. I got it all neat and critiqued it the way I want it to go. So right now you see me constantly blending my sides in to make sure everything is going well together. Combing the hair forward to a point because this particular client loves her edging to be real sharp and crisp and clean looking. So I'll sometimes comb the hair in a direction to where I know that the hair line is really, really clean as the client desires. So I'm still spraying my finishing spray and setting the hair. And now I'm edging it up to give her that crispy, clean edge up that she likes. That is so pretty. I like that. I'm sorry, y'all. I get excited by my own work, but I should, because how can you guys be excited if I'm not excited? So, but I like what I do. I love what I do, actually. So there you have it. She's all nice and done up, curled and healthy. Good conditioners, good shampoos, good moisturizers, protected, and we are out of here. Until the next time, guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope you like and subscribe to my channel. See you next time. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.